Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into an ancient text to tackle a really modern problem: how to build that unshakable inner strength. And our guide for this is one of the oldest books in the world, the I Ching, also known as the Book of Changes. Look, we're all searching for some kind of reliable framework, right? A set of principles to help us figure out our careers, our relationships, our own personal growth. And sometimes, let's be honest, it feels like you're trying to read a map in the middle of a hurricane. But what if that map has actually been around for thousands of years? The I Ching has been a guide for emperors, scholars, and everyday people for centuries. So what we're going to do today is boil down 4 of its most powerful principles into a practical roadmap that you can start using right away. Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute foundation of all strength, well, it might not be what you think it is. It's humility. And the I Ching has this beautiful name for it, the hidden mountain. Let's find out exactly what that means. So the I Ching gives us this incredible mental picture for humility. It's not about being weak or playing small. No. It's about being like a massive mountain hidden deep inside the earth. You can't see its full scale, but its power, its stability, it's absolutely undeniable. It's this immense, grounded capability that just doesn't feel the need to show off. And then it breaks this idea down into 3 really simple actions. See, it's not enough to just be quiet. First, you have to actually possess the skill. You have to have it. Then, step 2, you don't boast about it, you don't show it off, but here's the kicker, the most important part. You have to use it when the situation calls for it. And this right here highlights a super important difference. True humility is active. It's about taking responsibility. It's having that strength and stepping up to the plate when you're needed. The other side of that coin, what you might call false humility, is just dodging your obligations. It's having the ability, but then making yourself scarce when you're called upon. So the real point here is that true humility isn't about putting yourself down. It's about having such a solid sense of your own abilities that you don't need anyone else to validate you. And by grounding ourselves in that, we create the foundation for success in literally everything else we do. All right, so let's see how this builds into our motivation. Once you have that humble foundation, where does the drive come from? Well, the I Ching points to enjoyment, and it gives it this electrifying name, joyful thunder. We're talking about a joy so powerful it actually moves the world, like thunder rolling right out of the earth. Now, this might sound a little strange. I mean, how can happiness possibly be a bad thing? But the I Ching gives us a really important warning. Pleasure without any direction, just enjoyment for its own sake, can actually be a pretty dangerous trap. It teaches us to tell the difference between 2 kinds of enjoyment. On one side, you've got joy that comes from a real purpose. That enthusiasm you feel when you're working toward a goal that matters. That's a creative, powerful force. But on the other side, there's the joy from just simple indulgence, which, if it doesn't have a purpose, can easily become an addiction that just drains you. And that's really the core idea. When you harness it correctly, when your enjoyment is tied to a purpose, that genuine enthusiasm becomes this powerful engine for achievement. It's not a distraction, it's the fuel that gets you where you want to go. And we're not just talking about some vague feeling. I mean, look at the actual results here. This kind of purposeful joy is what lets great leaders build amazing teams, launch huge projects, and create an energy that just pulls people in. It's contagious in the absolute best way. Okay, so we've got a strong foundation in humility and this powerful motivation from enjoyment. What's next? We need a strategy for how we interact with the world around us. And this brings us to our 3rd principle, adaptation, which the I Ching calls following the tides. It's all about knowing when to move with the current. The idea here is actually really simple, but it's also incredibly deep. It's about understanding the natural flow of your environment and adapting to it instead of fighting against it. It's as basic as knowing that daytime is for work and night is for rest, or recognizing when old tech has to make way for the new and then riding that wave instead of getting crushed by it. So within this principle, the I Ching points to a critical decision that we are all facing constantly. When things are changing, you have to choose what's worth holding on to. And believe me, that choice pretty much determines your success. So what is that choice? Are you focusing on the minor stuff, the small details, the petty arguments? Because if you are, you risk losing sight of what's actually important. Or are you wisely focusing on the major goals, the core principles, the most valuable relationships? That prioritization, That's the key to achieving really great things. And finally, we get to the principle of action. What do we do when things are just broken? When we inherit a mess or, let's be real, create one ourselves. This is the art of renewal, which the I Ching beautifully describes as clearing the disorder. It's like a strong wind blowing away all the decay from the foot of a mountain. A bad situation, a failing project, a strained relationship, a period of total chaos. It's not a dead end. According to this ancient wisdom, it's actually the trigger for a powerful, positive change. But it all starts with having the courage to just admit there's a problem in the first place. See, true transformation isn't some single magical event. It's a deliberate process. The I Ching uses this cool 3-day metaphor to lay it all out. Before you do anything, you plan. Then you act with total focus. And this is so important, after you act, you keep monitoring, reviewing, and adjusting until the new way of doing things is stable. And this is a big one. To truly create change and clear out all that disorder, you have to be willing to challenge those old assumptions and practices. Yep, even the ones that seem sacred or have always been done this way. Nothing is off the table. So let's put it all together. Here it is, your 4-part personal wisdom toolkit straight from the I Ching. You've got humility, the mountain and the earth, to ground you with that unseen strength. You've got enjoyment, the thunder from the earth, to fuel you with a powerful purpose. Adaptation, the lake over thunder, to guide you in following the right currents. And renewal, the wind under the mountain, to empower you to fix whatever's broken. This isn't just some ancient philosophy, it's a real blueprint for a life of strength, purpose, and resilience. So as we close this out, just take a moment and think about your own life. Which one of these 4 principles really speaks to you the most right now? Is it about building your hidden strength, finding more joy in your purpose, focusing on the major goals, or maybe starting that process of renewal? The wisdom is timeless, and the application, well, that starts today. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.